You can use that to kind of divert the listener's ear. He's doing a lot of... It's kind of like, where's the actual root note? It's kind of a clever technique and just kind of boldly puts the bass line up front. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Low End University. Pump It Up is from Elvis Costello's second studio album, This Year's Model, released in 1978, but it was the first album to feature his new backing band at the time, The Attractions, which included bassist Bruce Thomas. Now, that's a name I've seen show up in the comments a lot, and it's usually always accompanied by a request for this track, Pump It Up. Now, Elvis Costello is a name I'm definitely familiar with. I feel like I've heard it my whole life. A classic artist. But the songs I think about when I hear that name are more slower, ballady. So I don't know if he has a separate career with a band and then a solo thing. But if this is in a more punk rock driving vein as I'm reading, I don't believe I've heard it. But without further ado, let's check it out. Pump It Up from Elvis Costello and The Attractions. Okay. Definitely don't recognize this, but some of the notes in that intro are kind of quirky, and then they had those kind of glissando half-step slides in the guitar. Let me hear that one more time, because it was a pretty cool setup with some quirky bits to it. Yeah, that interval. Okay, we'll get to that. Nice throaty, punchy bass tone. Yeah, this thing. Real quick, whatever he's doing with his feet there, dancing around, that looks painful to me. Like the way his feet are turning. Just something I just caught. Yeah, that. But it's fun to watch. Okay. Bass player Bruce Thomas here, playing with a lot of chromaticism. And what happens is that you can use that to kind of divert the listener's ear. You know, if you're just going between two notes, and that's kind of outlining the chord progression, it would sound correct and normal, but he's doing a lot of... And it's kind of like, where's the actual root note? It's kind of a clever technique and just kind of boldly puts the bass line up front. Sounds like we're hearing F sharp, and what kind of caught me is that half-step jump between F sharp, and it was landing on the minor 7, up here on the E, this interval. But he's putting that little chromatic thing right before it. I don't know, just a weird, twisty way to kind of outline that groove. Then in the verse, I know it's this top note here, so G sharp A, and then it goes to it again here in this sort of chorus-ish part. Let me go back a bit. This is pretty cool. Have not heard this. Yeah, that line. Oh, that's what it is. So you got... Love that. It's just tasty. Yeah, this is all over the place. Woo. And I don't know if you did this earlier, but the bass is kind of following this kind of pitched down thing here. Let's see. I know I said glissando earlier, almost as it's like it's going, yeah, just kind of not really snapping to any pitch. Sounds like the guitar and the bass are kind of articulating that a bit differently. The bass sounds like it's going. So you got three notes there. But it's almost like Elvis on guitar and then keyboard players kind of, it's a little more gliss. So it creates this kind of cool, I wouldn't call it an effect. It's just a really interesting way to articulate just going between two notes. Like it's just kind of part of their sound from what I'm gleaning so far. It gives it a sexy kind of mojo, I suppose. Okay. Okay, I was referring to this. That's just a fun group. Okay, I gotta tackle this one now. It kind of repeats that same chromatic, but it's got some larger interval jumps. It's hard to, it's fast. One more time. That kind of thing there. Just really quick. But it's so nimble. Ooh. Hasn't done this chord yet. He's really fun to watch doing that dance thing. That's kind of like, it's like the thing Axl Rose used to do on stage. It's got like a signature look to it. I imagine he had some great live shows. But he's fun to watch. It's just like the music is just running through his body the way he plays. And sometimes that's what's good about watching these music videos that are more performance-based. I get a better feel for the band. I know I do the studio versions most of the time because I just want to hear the music, but it kind of puts a name with a face, especially when I'm kind of having a first impression of a band. But I bet he's fun to watch, or was back then. I'm missing a few notes on that one. It's a little weird. Got to call out the gurgle when I hear it. If you watch my videos, you know I'm all about the gurgle now. Going up chromatically, just a beautiful way to wrap up a phrase as a bass player and kind of signify a repeat. Classic bass player move. Right there. And actually, I want to say, too, there's something pretty artistic about staying on this static shot, just in terms of the cinematic value of the music video. I know there's a couple of other angles, but it's not like your typical angle A, angle B, angle C, just kind of recycling them at an even pace. And I think what it nods to is the band element. Because I read that this was the first album he had. I don't know if he had a band before this. I know he had a band of some sort, but it's like if they're showing the band as much as possible, a majority of the shots, it's like a nod to like, hey, this is the new version of my music. So I always think about stuff when I see music videos. Are they trying to tell a larger story about the band's identity? But just them hanging on this static shot just makes me think that's kind of Kind of signifies that. No flashy angles and jumping around. It's cool. It's very performance-based, very real. Yeah, look at that foot angle there. I don't know. I can't do that. Pump it up. Seeing that he's based out of the UK and so is his band, and just largely based out of that music scene from that era, I see a ton of overlap from this song and a lot of other British bands I've done on the channel. The Stranglers, Gang of Four, The Jam, New Order, The Clash. They have this type of whimsical space to their sound. It's like it almost gives room for the bass to really breathe. And I think the bass performance on this one reminded me most of Bruce Foxton from The Jam. Had a similar type thing where the bass was busier than it needed to be, but in a cool way that really put it at the forefront and gave the whole composition a different flair. Like I said, they were outlining a couple chords back and forth. I had a pretty sound structure to the song, but the way Bruce Thomas in this song added all that chromaticism gave it just a different twist. It made the chords a little less predictable when they were showing up, and that's something I remember talking about in the Stranglers a lot. The bass was dancing everywhere, and it just impacts the music in a different way than just going chord to chord to chord. I love the tone. It had that classic, but really punchy, almost driven tone. I wouldn't say like tons of drive, but punchy. And Elvis Costello, I've never seen him, don't know what he looks like. He was really fun to watch. Has a really seasoned kind of showmanship vibe to his thing. He's got this stumbly sort of where he's stumbling around. It's almost like the music is just kind of dictating him. Think like inflatable arm flailing tube man, but much cooler than that. I just liked watching it. The video was really cut well, and I think staying on that static shot was maybe just a part of the message the band was releasing at the time. Hey, this is Elvis Costello and the Attractions. I'm just spouting speculation here, but yeah, this sounds nothing like what Elvis Costello songs I've probably remember hearing, which were slower things, more ballady, not really rock at all. So this is taking it way back, 1978. Thank you guys for requesting this, and thanks for hanging out with me today. It's been Pump It Up. If you'd like to support the channel further, come find us on Patreon. I do full album reactions over there and have tons of lesson content for bass, backing tracks, and all sorts of stuff. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe while you're here. It really helps the channel out. I love you all. We'll see you next time.